Hello, everybody. It's Matthew Brand, author of Magnum Creed, and today we are talking about the Ahmaud Arbery shooting. So, I'm here with Rose. Hi, Rose.
Hi.
Anyway, so uh, with the Ahmaud Arbery shooting, and excuse me if I say the name wrong, but there's been a lot of this is a heated thing because I don't know why everything has to be polarizing so much, but a lot of people are going back and forth on what uh, really happened because some people are saying it's cold blood murder, other people are going, trying to say like that, don't jump to conclusions and stuff like that. Uh, they're debating on why the man wasn't charged. So, Roses and some familiars, and I decided I'll just wait until we did the recording so I could talk about it and kill two birds with one stone. We both just watched the video. So, what you saw was he was running, truck blocked him off, two guys with guns.
Yeah.
He tried to run on the other side, like the opposite side, and then for whatever reason, when the camera got back on him, he basically just, I guess, decided to rush the guy with the gun. Now, for context with the story, from everything I've looked at all the sources I can find, including the testimony of the people who shot him, or including what they've said. What it sounds like happened was he matched the description and might even be this guy who was in a string of burglaries. Now, difference between burglary and robbery, he wasn't robbing people. He just may have been somebody who broke into houses and took stuff. Now, he matched the description of somebody who had recently looked in an abandoned house, right? They saw him going in an abandoned house. So, Arbery was supposedly out jogging, and these two men, I'm not even going to say their name because I don't care, who were, one was, I think, a former investigator for the district attorney, and another one,
we're talking about.
yeah, and another one was, I think, his son, who might also have ties or whatever. But they get in and decide to do a citizen's arrest by following him with a shotgun, a loaded shotgun, and the other guy has a revolver or something. And they decided to follow him for fuck knows why. And I think they may have called the police. Don't it's because I've heard contradicting things, but I think they called the police, let them know, and then followed him for whatever particular reason, and let him say, hey, he's running, whatever the case may be. So, or someone called the police, and maybe they called after he was shot, right? And it's just weird. Like, all of it is very weird because the guy, even if, right, let's say they know he stole something, right? He stole. They saw him red-handed stealing a bunch of watches from Walmart. Who chases a dude down the street in a truck with a shotgun?
I'm sorry. This mofo was in the back of the truck. Like, this was,
Yeah.
You can't tell me that wasn't staged, that he knew he was going to murder that guy.
Yeah, that's just weird. It seems like an excuse. So, to me, when people are saying, like, oh, you got to look at the facts of the case, because if you're jumping on no conclusions anywhere, right? If you're just saying, okay, the facts of the case, best case scenario for these people, they're morons, right? They're morons. Worst case scenario, they're a bunch of racist murderers looking for an excuse to kill somebody. But, worst case scenario, they're more. Either way, even if, so what's going on is in Georgia, it's legal to do a citizen's arrest.
Right, that's what
You can follow, it's similar to being deputized, right? If you're deputized, you can follow actions and make a citizen's arrest. But even when you do make a citizen's arrest, it's supposed to be like if someone stole your stuff or you witnessed the crime. It's not supposed to be like, oh, he matches the description of a dude.
Let me just follow and murder this guy because he matches a description and
right.
You have nothing to go on.
Even if they didn't mean to murder him, it's weird. Why would you follow someone around with a shotgun? It'd be different if you said, hey, dude, look, can I talk to you for a second or something, or follow him, from a distance to let the police know where he is or whatever.
Right.
But they chased him down. He tried to get away, even by their from what I heard from what they said. They were following him, right? They got in the truck, got a shotgun and revolver, followed him. He tried to get away, and then they then cut him off, and then it looks like he was like just going away, but he doesn't know them. Maybe he's had an encounter with them in the past, but that's weird to be chased with a shotgun. If someone chases me with a shotgun, I'm not going to be happy. I'm either going to run or try and kill him, which is basically what he did. So he tried both. So Arbery would have been completely justified. Let's say if he had his own something on him, a gun or something on him, he would have been completely justified, in my opinion, to blow their brains out.
100%.
Yeah. Now what they're saying is he had a record.
Be killed.
Yeah, he has a record. I don't know you. You don't chase someone down with a shotgun. That's weird. Even if you are so some people are coming up with all these scenarios to justify, like, oh well, you don't know what he was doing. Oh well, he should. Most of what I'm hearing is he should not have went for the gun. You're not in his shoes, and he's completely justified going for the gun. If someone's following you around with a shotgun and you don't know what the hell they're doing.
What would you do if somebody was chasing you around with a shotgun?
Now, here's a lot of people like, well, he should have kept running. Him keep running and being chased, that's invalid when you bring up someone being chased around with a shotgun. You
can't run from bullets.
Well, even if he doesn't know, but even because people saying that's stupid. I'm not disagreeing that might not have been the best choice, but hindsight's 20/20, right? If you don't know what's going on, all you know is somebody's chasing you around with a shotgun, and I have not heard that disputed once that they were just saying, hey, I don't know you. I don't know what your intentions are. And maybe he knew the older dude, but that doesn't mean he knew the younger dude. So if maybe, and that's a maybe, I've heard that from one source and that was like a scarce source at that, right? There was no valid source. But because I guess because that guy was an investigator.
Yeah.
So he may have had a run-in with him before. But at the end of the story, or at the end of the day, there's no reason to go and chase someone down with a shotgun. So anything Arbery did would have been justified self-defense. Running for the shotgun might not have been the best defensive maneuver, right? Which resulted in him getting shot. Because people were saying, oh, well, he ran for the shotgun. Well, that's different because you aggravated the situation by chasing him with a shotgun.
Exactly.
Even if you chased him unarmed, it's still weird to chase somebody down in a truck unless you're saying, like, hey, dude, you dropped your wallet. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're like, hey, you dropped your wallet, something, even police, even if they were active police officers with badges, don't do that.
No.
They don't chase people down shotgun in hand unless they 100% know that they're armed. And you could say, well, sometimes they pull guns on people and ask them to come out the car, but that's part of police training because you don't know what the person's pulling. You saw the video with the police training because sometimes people, jump out the car guns ablazing, right? And if they weren't compliant at first, not even justifying this, I don't think it should be this way. But if they're not compliant at first, they may pull a gun on them because they don't know what their next move is going to be. Obviously, they don't feel like being brought in. So I think policing and the whole incarceration system should be different in general. I don't like the way the justice system is set up. But end of the story is there's reasons they do that, but they don't just do it to catch somebody who may have stole something and is running from a cop, because that's how cops get in trouble, because they're not identified as cops. That cop who shot that woman through the window, who may have had a gun, he's in jail for murder.
Yeah.
Why? Or manslaughter. Why? Because he didn't identify himself as a cop. You're creeping around the house, see somebody with a gun, and shoot. You're not supposed to be creeping around the house.
Right.
That's weird. Even if she was breaking in the house, grabbing crap, it's her house. You didn't identify yourself as a cop. You don't know who the person is, and if she didn't have a gun, you didn't have time to find that out, and he fires that through the window that fast.
Yeah.
You just killed the person for relatively no reason when you could have just said, hey, I'm a cop, stop. but they weren't cops, and they couldn't say that. But even if they were cops, you don't chase someone down with a shotgun who's jogging.
I just feel like the entire situation is unjustified in their defense based upon the fact that it's not like he was out on a murderous rampage. Like, he didn't do anything to hurt people. Yeah, he may or may not have stolen something, but he didn't even steal, if he did, when people were home. And he was jogging. It's not like he had a gun and that there was no justification whatsoever for them to be doing what they were doing.
Right, and it might even be a case of mistaken identity. Now, somebody said, "Oh, that was him in the video after the death," but it doesn't really. It's irrelevant.
Right.
Chasing someone down with a gun, whether now if they whooped your kid's ass, if they hurt one of your family members, stole something important to you, whatever. Even in those cases, it's hard to chase someone down, right? You know, you can make a citizen arrest, but at least you can look at that and understand it. Like, okay, he hurt my loved one, and I am going to go find his ass. I ain't going to do nothing to him, but his ass going to jail. You know, that's a different reason. I'm not saying I would even do that, but that's a different reason than just chasing someone down because they might have been a person who burglarized a place somewhere. That's weak. And like I said, chasing someone down with a shotgun is insanity. That doesn't make any sense. I can't even think of a scenario where I would chase someone down with a shotgun unless they really already cause physical bodily harm to someone, right? Yeah. Like someone I love, you should cause physical bodily harm, or I think you are a danger, or I think you're about to cause physical bodily harm to someone I love. Then I'll chase you down with whatever means necessary, you know. If it's to save my loved one's life, I'll run you over with that car. But in order to just chase someone down with a shotgun over maybe something they stole, that's stupid. And they didn't get it. So this happened in February, and they're not getting arrested till today. They got arrested today. This is May. So whatever. So let's say it happened. Whatever. The point is, people are kind of puzzled why it's taking so long. So it's complicated. One, obviously, he's in good with the DA, right? They're in good with the DA. They're in so good with the DA that several prosecutors had to dismiss the case and move it to somebody else. I think I told you about that before. If they're in good, if they know the judge or a prosecutor, something, they have to move it.
I just didn't realize that it was the same story.
Right, yeah. So that's one. Two, in Georgia, you're allowed to make a citizen's arrest, and basically they think they're trying to push it to justify it. Like, well, you know, he did run for the gun, so he was shot in self-defense. But that's after chasing someone down. This is very similar to that case in Florida where the dude shot the guy after he got pushed on the ground, and they got pushed him on the ground. But the difference between this and Florida is, at least in Florida, that guy was instigating something by going up to cars that were parked in handicap spots. That one, he was instigating, but he was just instigating verbal arguments, right? That turned into something physical. Basically, he signed a check his ass couldn't cash, and when that happened, right, when he got pushed on the ground, then he wanted to bring the gun out. And then he wanted to act like all old man and all my arm hurts and all that.
Yeah, it's like he was waiting for something to happen.
Yeah, he was waiting for an excuse.
To shoot somebody.
And that's what this seems like they're looking for an excuse. So they're aggravating the situation just like he is, right, by chasing someone down with a shotgun. Something a normal, reasonable person wouldn't do, right?
Yeah.
I don't care. Citizens arrests, wave that aside, right? Wave that citizens arrest thing aside, right? Okay, fine. You can make a citizen's arrest. You can drive up, stop him. You can say, "Oh, I didn't know if he was armed or not." Then don't chase him. If you're that worried, right? Because they're not bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Even when you watch stuff like Dog the Bounty Hunter, whatever, they go after people jumping bail. That woman who shot that dude in the back, that white guy who was jumping out the window, and she got no justice. People were outraged about it. Everybody's making this a race thing. And it is kind of a race thing because one is Georgia. It's Georgia. Two, because a lot of people, like, let's say, this was so silly. So there are people marching at the Capitol with the guns, right? Remember that?
Yeah.
So everybody says, oh, if there was a black people, they would be shot if they marched on the Capitol. This is Michigan. Black people go up to the Capitol with rifles. It was never a thing until Whitmer didn't like it, right? So no one cares. Now, one of the politicians, I don't even think it was Whitmer, just one of the lawmakers either hired or asked some, I think she hired them, but tried to make it look like they volunteered. But some black people to carry ARs to protect her walking into the thing.
Oh, Jesus.
But they're still on the Capitol, so you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
it's just silly. And the thing is, most people, like, some people are like, oh my God, it's a gun, but you're not even there. You know, they're scared of a gun that you're miles and miles away from.
Can't hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, like they're looking at a TV screen and scared of, like, nobody was there who was scared. Anybody who was like, looked at the gun was like, oh my God, was not there.
No.
So, but you see stuff like that, but that's because this is Michigan. So the rest of the country doesn't comprehend that Negroes can walk around Michigan with guns and shit doesn't happen to them like they do. And I'm not saying it never happens in stuff with places like West Bloomfield and other stuff, but in places with a scrutinized or, you know, a better public eye like Detroit, Lansing, Flint and stuff like that, if you're going to get attacked for having a gun, it's because it's some other jackass who wants your gun. It's not going to be like the police are like, what the fuck are you doing on the ground? It's not like that. So, it is crazy, just crazy that people, they're just like, well, you don't know what he did. You don't know the case. They're taking the exact facts of the case, right? And saying, like, well, nothing in there says that they're racist, right? Because if you look at the bare facts of the case, you can't say that they're racist because there's no part of them saying they're part of KKK or skinheads or Nazi, whatever. They're making a citizen's arrest. That could have happened on a white guy or a Mexican guy or a Chinese guy, right? They could do that on that. But you have to really remove a lot from the situation. But the whole point is, why? Why would you do it? It don't care what kind of, like, it could be an Arabic guy, Puerto Rican dude, or another white dude, whatever the case may be. Why are you chasing somebody down? That's a weird thing to do. Add on that is Georgia, and they're known for, like, racial tension sometimes. Add on that is Georgia, that they look like some hills have eyes kind of mofos, and it's so much of it. So much of it looks wrong. They're blocking the guy off. And I don't necessarily even think it's murder. Because here's the real kind of the touch to it. You don't know if they would have shot him if he didn't reach for the gun. So that's what people are really focusing on. Well, it's because he reached for the gun. But if you aggravate a situation to the point where someone has to make these hard ass decisions, right? Make these hard ass decisions, then you don't have an excuse at that point anymore, right? If I kick down kick at your door and throw rocks through your window and piss all over your cat and just weird shit until you come outside and get all in my face. And then I knock the shit out of you, and I'm like, officer, he got in my face. What do you want from me? You're leaving out all the other context, right? So,
let's not talk about the fact that I just broke all his windows.
Or pissed on your cat. Yeah. I don't have a cat, but if I did, I'd be probably pretty annoyed that you pissed on it. I'd make you watch that cat. I'll be out there. You better watch that cat right now. I ain't
scrubbing that fucking cat.
Yeah, I'm not scrubbing. Nope, no, you don't piss on my cat. As a matter of fact, that cat out of my house. I can't even let it believe. I can't believe a cat of mine would let herself get pissed on. But
you're taking that cat with you.
Yeah, no, that was something funny going on between you and that cat. But the point is, you don't. That is a weird situation. And then so like the dude. Even with that dude who drew, remember that black guy? He was like mentally handicapped or something, and he was throwing rocks at a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy came out with the gun and came chased after him with the gun. You can't do that. It's a car. A lot of people are like, oh, well, he has the right to go out there and defend his property. You do, but you can't defend $175 window by blowing somebody's chest out with a pistol. It does. There's a level of because once you call the police, right, his mother will likely be, or him or his mother or whatever will likely be charged, and in civil court they'll have to pay for the car. That's based. Unfortunately, I don't like that sense of the justice system because usually what you end up with two options, right? And a lot of people aren't familiar with this, but what happens is, let's say if I go over, steal your wig, right? Got your wig. I run off, right? The police catch me later. They're like, hey man, you stole a wig. That was a $200 wig, right? So we go to court. We have some options, right? If you're charging me, I can pay you for the wig or go to jail. A lot of people would rather have their wig money. So they make a deal. If I pay for the wig, I don't go to jail. A lot of times the crime is monetarily compensated instead of the punishment. I'll give you another example. There's a company I work for, and this woman was sticking. I'm heavily paraphrasing and mostly mucking up this story for legal purposes, but I was working for a company where a woman was stealing out of like a Lou Gehrig's disease box, right? Where they donate, right? And I got a lot because it was while I was there. They looked at the camera and saw, okay, I wasn't stealing out the Lou Gehrig's disease box, but somebody was. So they found out that the woman was stealing out the Lou Gehrig's disease box. I'm not going to say her name. Wasn't really a Lou Gehrig's disease box. I'm just really good. Mm-hmm. But instead of charging her, right, to avoid the attention and the issues, they just legally settled for her paying them back a lot of money. And, one, she got fired. Two, she had to pay them back a lot of money. But no legal, she didn't have to go to jail. Mm-hmm. And that's the real kicker with a lot of these things. They want your money. They don't want you. They want you some slavery out of you. The moral issue they don't give a damn about in a lot of these situations. So if you do some serious, like unless you do something you can't pay back, like bodily harm or something, a lot of times money will take care of a lot of the problem, right? So if it's one of those kind of situations and you murder somebody over it, now you've caused the issue that the money can't pay back. In them, what is the real damage done that they did so bad that you can't pay the money? And people have to think about that when they go into a quote unquote self-defense situation, because is it really self-defense at that point? You're using deadly force, but the point of deadly force is to prevent serious bodily harm or death.
Or the people that you love.
Yeah, or to you or people you love. Well, any type of serious bodily harm to whomever. A stranger. It doesn't even have to be someone you love. Sally, that woman with the pink coat with all their teeth missing out of her. She asked the wrong person for money too many times. Somebody might start just whooping her ass. You maybe could go in there and save pink coat lady. Man, that might be telling too many. Close to where we at, but you can save pink coat lady, right? And if you save pink coat lady, that's a self-defense or that's a defense situation. Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody takes Pink Coat Lady's cart and tosses Pink Coat Lady's cart and all her garbage falls out of it, and then you start
bang bang,
or bang bang, or start stomping them's head in the ground like, you like all Pink Lady's cart, you bastard, and you look like an idiot. Or chase them down with a shotgun and make a citizen's arrest like, yo, get your ass over here, boy. Throw over Pink Lady's cart. Put the pop cans! Drop the pop cans! Drop! You sound like a moron. Can't even get any money from them. It's COVID and not even taking them. Get out the pop can! Man, we gonna get your pop cans back. Get in the truck! Get in the truck, Billy! Go get these fucking pop cans. Sound like an idiot. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. You guys have a fantastic day. That's my thoughts on this Arbery shooting. I know this is a longer video than we normally make, or recording than we normally do. But oh my, this is fucking. I can't. You can't tell me other. I get where people are coming from, where it's like he shouldn't have reached for the gun, but okay. But at that point, with that aggravated of a situation, that's like telling somebody, well, he should have uppercutted. I would have. I personally, I would have swung left. Like he zigged when he should have zagged. That ain't really a means for the shooting. That's more of a means for the, well, maybe his technique was off. Because, I mean, really the best ideal is to run, but you don't know. So, that's like, oh, well, he should have swayed. He blocked, but he should have swayed. At that point, that's all you can really say about it. It resulted in his death, but unfortunately, that's not really his fault at that point in time. Like, because if you chase someone down with a shotgun, I don't think no one said, it's not like they're police officers, and they did everything they could to bring him in peacefully. Even a police officer would have tased him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, tased him, pepper sprayed. They went full force for someone they were not at risk of serious bodily harm or injury, besides something that they brought to the party themselves, right? And a lot of people are going to think back to George Zimmerman, but the whole issue with George Zimmerman, right, is he's retarded. He's George Zimmerman, or the guy, I believe that's the guy who shot Trayvon Martin. A lot of people forget that. So there's a thing when you get into a shooting, right, and there's no witnesses or evidence. There's if you've ever seen the movie Chicago, there's the both reach for the gun, and none of this is legal advice, so keep that disclaimer in mind. They both reach for the gun, right? Oh, he reached for my gun. He reached for my gun. I didn't have a choice, right? And it's really hard because when you get into a encounter with somebody and it becomes violent, and one person lives and the other person dies, the person who lives is the one who tells the story.
Yeah.
So it's a one witness against someone who not there anymore to give their side of the story. Yeah. That makes it very complicated. That dude should have definitely went to jail. That woman who shot that guy in the back, who was in the bail thing, right? He was taking his shoe off. He was cool, and then she started trying to put handcuffs on. He like, bitch. He like, what are you doing? He didn't say it like that, but he got up and he tried to run out the window. She was like, he reached for my gun. He didn't know he was there. It was in the drawer. Yeah. You introduced it into the situation. So many people try to introduce stuff in the situation. Did you see that video with the dude? He had his hands out the window, and the cop yelled gun. He was like, bitch. They had it recorded though, but people do that. They introduce something in the situation where it shouldn't have been introduced. Even I think Mike the cop, and he's from somewhere in Michigan. I don't even know if he's a cop anymore, but he even pointed it out. Why introduce, even if the guy does have a gun, right? Why introduce a gun into a situation where there was no reason for you to have a gun?
Yeah.
Right? If you made somebody go grab a gun, right? And you're in a stop or whatever, you made somebody go grab a gun that otherwise you would not have to go grab.
Yeah.
Why do that? Right? I wouldn't. That makes no sense. Otherwise, because it's just sitting there, right? And if you're nervous enough to want to take the gun for your own safety, why would you tell somebody else to go grab the gun that you're nervous about? Oh, I don't want you to shoot me. Go grab your gun real quick. Fuck, does that make any sense? None of it makes sense. It's a Chewbacca defense. It doesn't make any sense. This whole situation with that Ahmaud Arbery shoot, it doesn't make any sense. None of it makes sense. It's stupid, and I think that's the only reason they're going to get that Chewbacca out of this is that Chewbacca defense. It's manslaughter, and I think one of my worries is that, and I'm not a lawyer, so that's just my opinion. So like I said, disclaimer. But in my opinion, it's definitely manslaughter. I'm worried that if they charge him for murder, solely charge him for murder, that he might get out of it because technically it's not murder because of they're reaching for the gun. Technically.
Whatever.
Yeah, technically. But still, and like I said, people slap on the wrist like that cop who walked into the wrong apartment, shot that dude. Like it's weird, man. It's really weird. I think the issue partly might be like they don't have a lot of money, and when people choose, like let's say, when people choose to do shit on people like this, they very often seem to pick people they might imagine might be poor, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he was like a really rich family or whatever, we wouldn't see this. Black, white, brown, purple, pink. This wouldn't be, oh, he was in there since, this happened in February and they're still not arrested. Green is the real racist color. Having green is the real racist color, but black is a easy identifier for that, right? Because we know that a lot of African Americans don't have the money that it's an easy way to call that. People don't do that with other races, right? They it's an easy way to find that out. If black people were the ones with the money, or if we had a decent amount of money, cops wouldn't be targeting us like that. We wouldn't.
Yeah.
We wouldn't say that. Cops wouldn't be targeting us like that. And they try to make it so that you don't have a lot of money by making you get a record early. That's what people say with the systematic. When people mean like, oh, it's a racial system, they stick all the cops in black neighborhoods saying they commit the most violent crimes. Obviously, anybody who watches live PD sees that's not always the case.
Yeah.
But people are stuck on some stuff from back in the day. If they were more familiar with stuff from back in the day, they're like, oh well, yeah, blacks do commit a higher percentage of violent crimes. But if you live in both areas, like I have, a lot of people have, what you really see is people who commit violent crimes out in other areas just simply don't get charged. They're just kind of like what happened? Bob did what? Again? All right, come on, Bob. Let's talk. Bob, are you drunk? Yeah. Bob, did you slap Bubba again? Yeah. Why'd you slap Bubba? Well, Bubba disrespected my mother, and he can't be doing that. So I busted his window out and slapped him a couple times, and I think he learned his lesson. Okay, Bob, this is what we're gonna do. We're not gonna charge you, but you're gonna have to fucking cool out. Do you have a place to stay tonight? So you don't have to stay with Bubba? No. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna give you $40. Stay in a motel down the street, okay? And you pay me back when you get your paycheck. Okay. Thank you, officer. I'm sorry. I try to make sure not to have it again. What you drinking, Bubba? I think I had a lot of Coors Light. Okay. Well, maybe you should switch to Pabst Blue Ribbon. Can you do that? Maybe switch to Pabst. Maybe actually, why don't you upgrade? Get yourself some Bud Light. Maybe be a little less suspicious. You won't have as much next time, and then you'll be able to control yourself. All right. Remember, beer before liquor, never sicker. Liquor before beer, you're fucking queer. That's the rules. All right. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys next time.